Hello, it's Peter Wright and Kathleen Beauvais with another episode of The Yakking Show. And this is a show that brings you actionable business tips and ideas to improve your business and your life. We do that by bringing you interesting guests, and today I know will be no exception, but I mustn't steal Kathleen's thunder. So first, let's introduce co-host Kathleen. Hi, Kathleen. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Peter. Thank you so much. And thank you also very much for tuning into our show. We so appreciate having you. And as Peter mentioned, we do have another special guest with us today. We have the great privilege of welcoming Tracey Watts Cirino. Hello, Tracey. How are you and welcome?
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, Tracey is the founder of Beyond Common Coaching and Training and is a 4 times #1 international best-selling author. Isn't that impressive? Wow. She's also a business strategist that helps to empower entrepreneurs so that they can work less and earn more. Wouldn't that be nice? She holds numerous certifications, including from Canfield and Tony Robbins. Wow. Let's jump right in. Tracey, what would your advice be for an entrepreneur who feels completely stuck on a hamster wheel, both in their personal and their business life?
Step 1, breathe. Right? We forget that all the time because it's automatic. So it's always step 1 is breathe. And I talk about getting off the hamster wheel all the time. So I love that we're so aligned, right? with what we are doing to help entrepreneurs. The biggest thing is that you have to take a step back. And it's really hard to do that objectively yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to take a step back and you need to seek the support, help, coaching, advice of a trusted person who has done what you want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're stuck in this thing, you think, oh, I'm going to work harder. I just have to hire more people. I have to have this brilliant idea. But you are stuck in this hamster wheel of overwhelm that you're just going to come up with more yuck and muck. That's just what it's just like. You just keep getting stuck. And it's counterintuitive because you're so busy that you think, oh, I can't stop. But you have to stop. And first is take a breath. Mm-hmm. And once you take that breath, then you have to reach out for help. And oftentimes we reach out for help to the wrong people. Mm-hmm. I'm speaking for myself, so no judgment, no judgment or disrespect. Mm-hmm. But when you ask people that have never done what you're doing and who just want to save you and rescue you, that is not going to be helpful. That's going to make you feel less like you're getting off the hamster wheel and more like sending you pings back.
Yeah, right.
But like that ping ping feeling from the cartoons, right? We don't want that. So asking people that have done something that you are inspired or aspire to achieve, that's like the thing that we should have learned that like in 2nd grade. But I didn't learn this till I made tons of mistakes in my first businesses.
Right. And you make a great point there because, in fact, this is just a comment, but what we have seen, Peter and I have seen, is following the pandemic, there's been a lot of people interested in getting out of the corporate world and delving into entrepreneurship and just feel so stuck and don't know how to break out of it. But this is excellent advice for them to seek out the advice of somebody who's been there and has done that and get their advice. So, well, yeah, wonderful. Peter?
Very good, very good. And I got to interject quick. It takes my mind back many years when I was in the corporate world, and I was a marketing guy in a big company, and we had one of our accountants was always relaxed, never stressed, and yet achieved more with his department than anyone else. And I asked him, I said, what's your secret? He says, well, I don't do stuff that someone else should be doing. And that's why I can lead a relaxed life, because he refused to get on that hamster wheel. He put someone else on it all the time. So, stuck in my mind. Tracey, we've interviewed quite a few coaches over the years we've been doing this podcast, and everyone is different in some ways. So what sets you apart? What sets Tracey and your business apart from the hundreds of other coaches that are out there?
Well, I would say the biggest difference is that I will not tell you what you want to hear. And I think a lot of coaches are afraid to tell people what they need to hear and give honest feedback of where your blind spots are. Because I care more about your success than I do if you like me. Right. And so that is the number one thing. It's like there are oftentimes that things are so crystal clear to me, but you're in that loop and stuck in that rut. And people just, oftentimes are like, oh, well, I want that person to hire me. So they'll just say all this nice, fluffy things, but that's not going to get you to the next level. So sometimes I have to tell you things that you don't want to hear. And I have no problem starting out of the gate that way, because that's the real world of what coaching, consulting is. If you could do it yourself, you would have done it already.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And kudos to you, because that I think takes a lot of guts to be able to just tell the client how it is and not be afraid. Just tell it like it is. So kudos to you. So,
well, on that one, a quick one. Probably 2 years ago, we interviewed a guy. I think he was in Germany, and his whole ethos was killing the sacred cows, and that was what he hung his thing on. He was more a financial management advisor than a straight coach. But he said that was the hardest thing, is to get his clients to kill their sacred cows, because they've spent many times years building these up. And the fact that the cow's not helping you or earning anything doesn't matter. It's their sacred cow. So it's much like you're saying, metaphorically speaking.
Not literally.
Oh, yeah. Not like Ireland, where they want to kill 200,000 of them. No, metaphorically speaking. But I think that's what, part of what you come across as well, Tracey, that you have to be tough enough if you're going to be a good coach to kill people's sacred cow, or tell them to kill their sacred cow. Sorry, back to you, Kathleen.
It's the truth, because the thing is that so oftentimes you're like, oh, I need a coach. And of course, I'm going to support you. I'm going to help you get the cords untangled so that things are clear. And sometimes it's something really small, but you never thought of looking at it, because we are taking our whole selves with us wherever we go. So I made the mistake for years of thinking, oh no, this is how I am at work. But you know what? I'm the same everywhere. I'm not orange juice at home and applesauce at work. Like, it's like, you're the same. So oftentimes the things that you're struggling with at work are often in your personal life too. And no one's going to hire me just because I'm a business coach that's going to help you produce revenue if you're not going to actually have a better quality of life and more fulfillment. They all go hand in hand. And when you look at it as a whole, then you're untangling all the right cords instead of, okay, well, let's unknot this and then make this a bigger problem over here. No, like, we need to elevate the entire quality of life, or what are we working for?
Sure.
Absolutely. Well, Tracey, you host a podcast called Beyond Common Business Secrets. Tell us about that, and who are you targeting with this podcast?
So Beyond Common Business Secrets is really for female entrepreneurs and business owners, because so much of being a busy female that is running a business, leading a family, leading a team, doing all the things, we don't always talk about emotional things, support, networks asking for help. So we really talk about all those secrets that people leave off the table and just discuss strategy. Like, I can give you all the best strategies in the world. If you have a negative mindset and you're crumbling down on the inside, it's just like a house foundation. You're going to fall. No matter how many of the most $1 million amazing strategies we put on top of it, it's crumbling. So you need to start with the foundation, because when you have all the proper tools in alignment, then the strategies work like effortlessly. Sometimes the secrets are the personal development and the self-care that you need to take care of first. And I just felt like nobody was talking about that. Like, there's a lot going on in the world. And it's funny, because as much as we focus on women, like, men love our podcast. Like, those are the ones that reach out. So we focused on empowering women because those are sometimes difficult conversations. But we have a lot of men that are, referring it out and passing it around because they think it's really helpful for women. So
wonderful.
Very good. Excellent. Tracey, you've had 4 international best-selling books. So tell our audience a little bit about your books.
So I mostly write about business strategy and personal development and, and female empowerment. And then last year, I wrote my very first fiction book with my children. We wrote a children's book, and the 3 of us co-authored a book together and became bestsellers as well. So that was,
Wow.
like, the thing is that it is about building a life that you love, right? So when my kids came to say, hey, Mom, we want to write a book because we want to create these our own characters, like they had a whole business idea. I was like, cool, let's do it. Like, who's doing what? And they're like, oh, she said yes. And it's just been really funny. I was like, did you think I would say no? I help everybody say yes.
So tell our audience what the books are called.
Yeah.
So I just was laughing about it. So that the children's book is called The Winter Owl, but the book that started it all, the book that started all of this is called Beyond Common, the 12 Essentials to Success in Life in the Workplace.
Okay.
And I essentially wrote that book based on a checklist I used to carry in my pocket that I created when I was wanting support, but I didn't know who I could turn to because I was crying alone in my closet because I couldn't tell my team what was going on. Everyone else was like, oh, well, you look successful. Oh, poor you. Right. So the thing is that I created a system for how to delegate, how to hire based on who you really are as a brand and what key players you want, and not being afraid to say no to what was good so you could say yes to what was great. And I just used to carry on this checklist to, over time, our team and our clients were like, I want that. So then I started writing a book about it. And turns out I waited years and years to write my first book because I've never been great at grammar. In fact, I'm awful at it. It's not my strength, but I love to tell story. I love to make things really relatable and simplistic, right? Like get off the hamster wheel, untangle the cords, like just really simplistic. And I have a lot to say. So actually we have two more books coming out this year. So.
Very good. Wow. And while we're on that subject, are your books all on your website and on Amazon?
Yeah, they're on the website, on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all the places.
Okay.
But yeah, if you want the autographed editions, go to TraceyWattsCirino.com. If you want the speediness, go to Amazon. That's what I tell
Okay.
you.
Oh, that's great. It's good for our audience to know. And a reminder for our audio listeners, the details will be in the description, whichever platform you're listening to this podcast on. Thanks for that.
And we also have the Beyond Common book, the Beyond Common 12 Essentials to Success in Life in the Workplace. That there's also an audio for that one as well.
Okay, good.
Can you maybe give us a couple of tips from that book for our audience that can probably actionable tips that they can say, oh, I can use that like today?
Yes, that's so funny, Kathleen, because what you asked in the beginning is like when you're on that hamster wheel and what are the first, so the first step, like breathe, that literally ties back to the very first chapter in Beyond Common, which is be present, right? So often we feel stuck in the mud and in this state of overwhelm because we're not present to our surroundings, to what's actually happening. We're out of alignment with what we really want. So the most important thing is just get present. Like when you pop into being present, the overwhelm shuts down. The second thing is to do more listening than talking. Right? Like I always go back to like what we learned in kindergarten. We have 2 years.
Right.
So when you listen, especially to your clients or your team, there's always the gold mine of opportunities and problems you can solve, ways you can add more value. So if you're present and you're listening, instantaneously you can grow your revenue by the end of the day. Done. Just do something. Wow. So those are the first 2, and we of course dive into them even further. But it's simple things like that when you apply it to how you actually run your business, how you train your team, even how you teach your children, there's a big return that feels a lot more fulfilling than just spinning around on the hamster wheel.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, for sure. So
very good.
if I were to contact you for help, what initial steps would you take with me?
So with you specifically, oh, that would be such an honor.
Oh.
Because it's a bit customizable. So
Okay.
if somebody wants to hire us for coming in and doing a speaking event, just send us the wish list of what you want. We will always create a customized program. But we also have like our standard keynotes that I do all the time, right? So that, but if you want customized one-to-one, we would have to look behind the curtain, do a full diagnostic on your business, and really see what levers. I would be honest with you, like, this is what even if I could tell they really love what that one thing, if it's not generating revenue and it's causing you a lot of wasted time, and so, there's got to be a way that we can bring it to the light. So that's the customized way. For people that just want to take immediate action, they can sign up for one of our programs, Beyond Common, the Essentials. That is a deeper dive. That is more of a companion course that goes with the book. So those are like the 3 different levels.
Okay.
Excellent.
So I'm going to go down a slightly different path now. We've heard a lot about what Tracey does now with her writing and everything else, but she's been talking about when I had the team. What did you do before you got into coaching?
It's so funny. I started coaching by accident so long ago. I always said I was stumbling in a puddle. So long before I ever had a business, I went to college to study psychology because I really have always been so curious about why we humans do what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I've been an entrepreneur since I was 9 years old,
Wow.
making tapes for my uncles. Of course, they would buy anything I wanted them to buy. But still, I made the tapes bring them joy and smiles, right? Like that was I just wanted to make people happy. So I ended up going to cosmetology school because I wanted to have more money instead of becoming a starving college kid. I was like, okay, I'm really good at this naturally. I can make money and not be, broke when I get out of college. Well, you know what? They were like, hey, will you go to New York and teach this class? And so of course, I was a child. Who wouldn't want to fly to New York and teach? Like, how fun. So I started teaching on stage, just explaining what I had done to have a little bit of success already in the salon. And then people would say, hey, can you come and teach my team that? Because I was a kid. I was 18 and 19 years old.
Wow.
I would come to this, they would hire me face to face, and I would come and teach a program about how I implemented this. And then they would ask me business advice. And I just would tell them what I learned. It's like literally, if I learned it yesterday, I would share it with you the next day. Like I never was.
Right.
I didn't consider myself a coach. I just was teaching everything I was practicing.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, it just led to different businesses. It's like, okay, well, now you need help over here. Let's try this. But it was just about 4 years ago that I sold the in-person salon because I went through the same thing again. I was hiding and playing small, using my business as the excuse that I wasn't fulfilling my life's mission of empowering more people. So go figure. It was time.
Wow.
Apply the principles all over again.
Right.
Yeah. So we obviously can't break any confidentiality with your clients, but just give our audience some ideas of some of your business biggest successes with your clients.
Some of the the biggest successes I would say are people that double their revenue in 6 months just by implementing 2 different things.
Whoa! Stop there. Just say that again slowly for our audience.
Doubling your revenue in 6 months. Just by applying 2 little levers that maybe you hadn't looked at before. That seems to be a continual thread for us. And a few other big successes are selling businesses that are no longer serving you. So sometimes with coaching, we realize that, hey, I really thought I liked this. I get it to the point that it's good, but it's time to pass it on to someone else. And so that transition of, hey, this is what I want to do that's different, and I never shared that with anybody, that seems to be a pretty big success that we've had. And also transitioning like next level, because no matter where you're going, like you want to break your first million, 10, it doesn't matter. There's always a new set of skill set, and it's mostly the mindset that can be the trap. So I help create a container that you have that safe space to get to the next level, even when it's hard and we want to slide backwards.
So what would those 2 levers be that you're referring to?
So they've been different for different businesses.
Okay.
So without saying exactly like someone's business, I'll just give you the generalization. Oftentimes it is recognizing where people aren't being charged properly. So oftentimes it's like clients that possibly take a lot more time, a lot more resources, are being lumped into the general package where they need to have a like more VIP status, right? No matter what type of business. And then so offering that, because they're going to still ask for it. So that's a really clean way. Another way is to get really clear on the pricing strategy out of the gate so that you've built the profit into it. That's a common thing I've seen in all types of business, whether it's products, of widgets. And was it Keith Cunningham? I love that he always says things and stuff, like keeping it simple. He always says things and stuff. And no matter what things or stuff, services, whatever you're selling, if you can build the profit that you really want in it from the beginning, you won't you won't keep like making a mess of it.
Interesting. Very good.
Excellent.
That is good.
Opposite of what I was taught in the beginning, right? You just said, oh, you just do what your clients want. That's how I was taught to do business.
Yeah.
Right. So we're getting short on time. Why don't you ask your burning question?
So Tracey, you need to go back to your psychology studies days and combine that with all your business and all your experience of speaking on stages and put that whole lot together for this question. And I asked this one of all our successful guests. So Tracey, in your experience, is there one habit, mindset, characteristic that sets successful people apart from, and I'm talking particularly in business leadership, from those that never become successful and sort of stay in a rut? Is it one thing or is it more complicated than that?
Well, there's one thing, but there are a couple of ways we complicate it, but there's one thing.
Okay.
You have to believe, like you have to have the hope that it's all possible.
Isn't that? Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, very true.
Oh my goodness. Do you know what? I think, Tracey, that's the first time, Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's the first time we've ever heard that one. The belief that it's possible.
Yeah.
Because typically what we hear, and interestingly enough, as Peter will attest to this, is that we have never once heard someone say the key to success is formal education. Never once. They usually say,
not once.
Not once. They usually say being focused, always learning.
Curiosity is a big one.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Persistent.
There's a few more, but there's probably in 200 interviews, there's probably no more than 14 at the most different answers or slight variations thereof. But you can distill it down to about a dozen answers. And as Kathleen says, no one says get an MBA or go to a good university or anything like that. Interesting stuff. And that's why I wanted it with your psychology background to get your perspective on it.
All of that means nothing. All of those answers that we've heard before, they're wonderful answers. But if you don't have the belief that you can make it happen,
sure, then it doesn't. Yeah,
It doesn't.
it's not.
Right?
It's not going to work. No, thank you for that, Tracey. That's a really good addition. I got to tell you, we have a minute in hand or so. What we do, we have a premium membership where people pay a very small subscription to get access to hour-long in-depth videos. But we also do a compilation of these very answers of the question I've just asked you. And that's all we do is we take that snippet of our guest answer and we put 20 into one 25, 30-minute video, and we make them available for our premium members as well. And once you put them together, it makes it very interesting listening or viewing to see those together. So we do that as well. Good. And yours will be in the next one that we do. So thank you for that. Back to you, Kathleen.
I feel so honored. I can't wait to hear them.
Well, Tracey, how do people contact you?
The best way to get a hold of us is follow on social media at all the places. I'm Tracey Watts Cirino everywhere. But the most intimate, the one that I check the most is our Facebook group that is Beyond Common Business Secrets. So
okay.
it matches the podcast. But I have a gift for your audience as well.
Yes.
And it's just, you guys really help people so much with business and marketing. And so often I think even people in that corporate C-level don't know how to connect, and that's like with their team or with how they're going to show up in different ways. So we created a workbook that is all about content prompts. And sometimes those are the content you need for your meeting. Sometimes the content you need to show up the way you want to on building your, email marketing campaign. Sometimes it's social. Sometimes it's all the things. So I want to give that to your audience as a gift. And they can get that at beyondcommoncoaching.com/prompts.
Sorry, my hearing is terrible. What was the last word?
PROMPTS, prompts.
Prompts. Okay, got it. Thank you. That will be in the description. Again, reminder for our audio listeners, look at the description to get access to your very generous gift that Tracey has offered you. Thank you, Tracey.
Thank you so much for being on our show today, Tracey. It's been enlightening. Thank you so much. And thank you all very much once again for tuning into our show. And if anyone is interested in being a guest on our show, please visit us at theyakkingshow.com. All you need to do is click on the contacts tab where you will find a short application form, and we would love to hear from you. And if there are any topics you'd like us to cover, please let us know. We have access to so many experts on this show. We would love to hear from you. So until next time, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.